Hello and welcome to Warblog. This is the Guinea-Bissau War of Independence, 1970. It's all written in the notes. I won't rewrite anyway, but I've only just put it together. I'm just keen to play it and go to sleep or something. But it's on a new wide format. It's a bit slow to load on my computer because my computer's stonking. CPUs are all knacked. But anyway, it's so it's not there's no sort of particular objective. So that this map essentially reflects this little tiny map here. So the Portuguese area is green. So that's around Bissau, these islands, which are not going to come into play really because, well, all that, there's no marine. The rebels don't have any marines. Although I could put some in, I guess. So and this green area. So the Portuguese don't really have that much. So there's that area and that area, and plus they have this place here, whatever it's called. As you can see there, it sort of looks like that. But Balama is actually there. That is Balama there. Let's go to play mode. See how long it takes to load. It is often a little quicker. It's not so much the size of it, it's my computer's slow and doesn't want to load it up. Yeah, so anyway, whilst it does that, so there's Balama there, and obviously, the rebels have a lot of area, where it's red and yellow is contested, disputed. Come on. Okay, it seems to have loaded up. So Balama is there. Now, the way I've done it to give it the sort of the game effect, it's not so much a game effect, but I mean it's set up like this, with sort of a smallish amount of troops on each side. Now, to be quite honest, I think the Portuguese have slightly more. There are reinforcements, and the rebels probably get a tad more reinforcements over maybe a longer period, but the Portuguese have some aircraft. And this war was called the Portuguese Vietnam. It was all about the same time, I think, 70. I can't remember the dates of these things, but yeah, I think that was about 70, when it was 65, 66, 68 in Vietnam, so yeah, this would have been around about that time. There was a more interesting coup attempt on Guinea, which I've written in the notes. I won't go into that now, which I actually sort of want to play, as a little game. But this is really just to reflect the sort of situation. I'm not sure what they're to do. I don't think it's readily modelable. But what I've done is, because there's small numbers of units on either side, it's not as though you can really do much. I mean, I suppose the Portuguese could start off by clearing this area out here, which was this sort of little red place here. That might be a good start. I haven't really reflected that little bit there, but there's not really any towns. So, so maybe they could send all of these units up there and then use these ones to create a wall there. That might be a good strategy. But the point I'm trying to get to here is that we could take this town out, and they're not really going to do much. But to get to the next town, so we could go into Bissau, restore order, move into Mansoa, and then the rebels will move into Bissau. There's not enough units to sort of contend with everything. But anyway, we'll sort of see how it goes, because it's really just there to, as with a lot of games, to give you a flavour for the geography and the sort of, the nature of the conflict to some extent. So we'll start playing it. Hopefully this time around I've got the objectives correct. So the Portuguese obviously have the green objectives, so they hold these places. I haven't bothered with the objectives down here, although I might give the rebels some marine capable units. Just as a point of exercise, let's see what Yeah, it's been a long time since I've looked at the marine units, and clearly they're not working. Well, they'll go into the sea, they just don't want to go into the island. Yeah, I'll have to sort that out. So I sort of half suspected they wouldn't work. So anyway, this is a big Portuguese offensive, and I might give them some more troops to reflect that. This is really just my first pass through it, so I don't know what's what. Maybe they had some armour and mechanised units and things like that. So I maybe have to sort of maybe give this a clearer read. But the thing is, the thing with the background here, it goes from 63 to 74. So this whole thing is it covers the whole lot, and there's only just a passing reference to between 68 and 72 that the Portuguese forces increased their offensive posture in the form of raids into PAIGC controlled territory, which is what we're reflecting now. But that's still 68 to 72. In 1970, the Portuguese Air Force began to use similar weapons to those in the US. The US was using in the Vietnam War napalm and defoliants in order to find the insurgents. In an effort to hamper assistance to the PAIGC from the neighbouring Republic of Guinea, Portugal commenced Operation Green Sea, which is the one I want to do. It's just a little thing. There's only 2 companies really. I won't go too much into that, but that's what I want to do. But the point I'm trying to get to here is that there really isn't a lot of description about what happens. It goes through to the assassination of Amilcar Cabral, and that's it. So that's all I've got to work on from that Wikipedia thing. I haven't found anything else yet. So maybe I will give them a little bit more to reflect the nature of their offensive. But for the time being, I think I'm going to do with perhaps what I first thought of. Look at that, it's a river. So I can't cross there, and there's no road between there and there. Look at that. That's interesting. That's probably why they held that little bit along there. Oh, that's going to take a lot longer than I thought it might. And another thing about one of the reasons I actually opted for these smaller units in the first run is just like in some of the other games, it's hard to actually start fighting them. For example, I'm taking these 2 towns out, creating a front line here. The rebels probably won't be able to attack with 1-to-1 because I'll be in jungle, which means I'll automatically be something more than 1, maybe 2, so it'll be 1-to-2. So it's quite hard to actually fight other units, etc., etc. So I've sort of I'm going to reload this so I know that this is almost suicidal. Ordinarily it does load up faster. I'm going to feel like I'm going to be saying that repeatedly, but it is. I've got my Windows Task Manager, and I can see that everything's slow. I should have just rebooted Firefox before I started. But We seem to be able to move 3. 1, 2, 3, I could do that. Now, it's stuck over here. I think the Portuguese could definitely do with more. I don't know what to do over here. So I thought you could hear me thinking then. I've probably been silent for a few seconds. I'm thinking about what to do here. Whether to send all 3 units and try and assault, which leaves me a bit open to these units here. But I think they're quite a way off. They could only get 1, 2, 3. So I could possibly use 1 unit to sort of keep that at bay, keeping a front line there. I just don't have the units to start doing assault, which is sort of what I wanted, but I think the Portuguese could do with a bit more of an edge. So I will probably reboot this quite quickly. Okay, obviously my little marines not doing what marines should do. Okay, and where do I anticipate a battle? Possibly here. No, here. So let's see what the aircraft can do. The bombers with their napalm. Well, he seems to be working on the first turn, so that's good. Yep, definitely on the go slow. Huh, 2-1, defender retreats. That was pretty good. So obviously he's doubled in the jungle. Aircraft usually double their strength, so that's a depression 3. So I'm so used to getting bad results that it seems that the Portuguese assault, although it's kind of slow, has gone off to a fantastic start with the air assault. Clearly I want to keep up the pressure there, and so I'll end that turn. Okay, so the rebels. Now, if he doesn't do anything, he'll possibly have the chance to dig in and recover some depressions, so I think that's what he'll do. Here, well, really not sure what I want to do, but I think putting in some kind of front line might help. Oh. Okay, in the interval, I made fair number of changes that won't take effect in this game because there's sort of structural changes. But any new games they'll take effect. Basically, the Portuguese have some mechanized units and some armor and some artillery. I haven't given the Pague units anything special, but they do have a few more units and a sort of comparable number of units, only lesser powered, coming in as reinforcements. I think it'll give the Portuguese a bit more of an edge because they are on the offensive, so I don't know how that's going to play out. But anyways, we're back. And the only other thing I would say is that I was just talking and talking and talking, and I didn't realise that the video had stopped. And so I don't know how far we got in the other video and how much of a quantum leap thing suddenly went through. But basically, I can't remember really what I was doing. I think I was contemplating some assaults. I've got maybe some assaults here into there, here into there, or here into here. And I think I'm not going to do any assaults, leaving it instead for the Portuguese to show their hand. So we'll end that turn for the Pague C units, PAIGC. Okay. Should we just try and turn things off on the game? But anyway, so Portuguese second turn. I haven't put any fords across this river. Maybe I could do that. Maybe put something across here just to make it a little, because it is actually pretty difficult to get there. But I was just saying much there. I was thinking something else to myself just the other day. Essentially along the lines of one of the things that distinguishes this game from some other games. Let's just see if the Marines can go into the island. Yes, I've got that working again now. So the Marines can now do things. Maybe I will give the rebels some Marines or the Pague C units. In that there's no sort of turn limit or do this by turn 5 or something, because what I'm thinking is holding everything or as much as I can. I need to respond over here. Yeah, I think I can smell burning on my laptop anyway, possibly on its way out. Yeah, so I'm thinking of holding here, defending here, and committing the offensive here against São Domingos. and then bringing the, there's almost, well, there's certainly a battalion. There's almost a regiment of units here, and then bringing that back down here. Now, the point I'm trying to get to is with some of these other games, you're up against a time limit and you can't set the pace. Why would people rush something where you can do one thing at a time and to good effect? These things where you've got to do something. I mean, that's the last thing you'd want to do unless it was, say, a certain type of battle where there was actually something happening. I mean, the Second World War was more dynamic. I mean, they were rushing. Everything there was pretty much for a particular purpose, especially after D-Day. There was no stopping them. But even I think in the Second World War, they would probably do one thing at a time. There would be no. What I'm saying is, this is a bit. I just don't think that I really need to start using these until I've finished with this, and then I can bring them back over. Because that's obviously I don't have the upper hand there. So that's that. But I'm still going to blast with my air power, I think. Two to one, no result. Okay. Can't always get the result you want. I'll just pause the video. Okay. Moved. Yeah, so that was that. So end turn. Did I press anything? Okay, there we go. So we should see these two objectives change colour to blue now. Yep, because they are contested. So the Portuguese have made some ground. It's sort of playing out how I thought it would, because there's just too many objectives for either side to hold. What I didn't anticipate was the potential for strategy, because there is really, because this is a bottleneck. I can control this narrow gap and essentially defend all of these units. They can't go across these rivers, these open water areas. So I can, to some extent, play strategically like that. Although it looks fairly tight over here, it's not. I mean, at best it's 1-to-1. The pacey units would have to really roll well to get any sort of momentum over here. Now they could here possibly, but we're not on their turn yet. Oh, yes we are. So now again, they're faced with the choice of maintaining a defensive line there, possibly attacking here, but now they're dug in. It's interesting. I think I'm going to move there. And now that will give me a 1-to-1. And again, I'm in stupid video mode, and I just sort of maybe feel like doing it. I think it's quite hard to sort of not do things. But that is probably the weakest spot, and if I could get a defender retreat, if I retreat it's not so bad, or is it? When he's only got one company, equivalent of one company, so I think I am going to go for that. Everywhere else the pressure is pretty good. I mean, essentially it's a crap shot 1-to-1. I like those sorts of things because they shape the the battle. And what's it going to be? 1 or 12? I spent quite a bit of time agonising over the difference between 1d12 and 2d6. I mean, I know the difference. yeah, a 1 or a 12. A 12 is as likely as a 1 as likely as a 6. The difference between a 2d6 is you get more average results, meaning that the 1s and 12s are far more less likely, meaning that the games are more statistically balanced. But I don't like the statistically balanced games because I like these games to actually have such a significant enough variance in set to make most battles quite different, because I just feel that that's what makes a game a little more interesting. The chance that it could go either way, not through fairness, but just through toying with the strategies, the possible possible outcomes. So anyway, obviously the PAGIC failed, but as I said, I don't think it's that bad. They're really going to have to stop. They're both on depressions too, so it's not too bad. They can recover, and that's what they're going to have to do. But they possibly lost Chicha, which is the way it goes. So, in their turn, it's the memory that's challenged here. I really should have thought that beforehand. I do like this map. I like the way this game is playing out. I mean, I like the map from the colours. I like it anyway. I know it's not super duper. It's not going to win any map prizes, but it seems fairly involved. Maybe I'm just colourblind, but it seems there's enough detail there to sort of be convincing. The only thing I would say about it is that let's just move some of these units. See, now they've dug in. The only thing I would say about it, it's a bit sort of misleading in a small sense. Look, some HC reinforcements have appeared, which is nice. So their retreat wasn't that bad. What I was saying is it's a bit misleading because the country, which is actually Guinea-Bissau, which is I never knew existed. It's not Guinea. It's only this big, so we're actually not playing on a massive map. All this is Guinea. We're coming up to another 15-minute break, so I might see you in a bit. Okay, so yeah, I'm quite excited to see this reinforcement arrive. They basically were supported out of Guinea. I think they possibly should have some heavier weapons, but I just want to sort of pause. I quite like pausing a little bit, just to talk about sort of what's happening. I think I find it quite enjoyable, really. But essentially, obviously, the Portuguese are going on the offensive, and they've moved sort of out of Milano City and taken a defensive position here. The point I'm trying to maybe get to here is that, well, obviously, they're actually they're taking control of Fulakanda. So they're actually performing an objective there, which, you know, what I'm thinking about here are the news reports, or, you know, they're succeeding here. They've moved sort of northeast out of Bissau, and they are taking 2 cities. They have a mission against São Domingos. So these things are going well. There's skirmishes and some minor fighting. They've not made any ground outside of the Fata, and so, but they've got a good strong position. So I don't think they can be losing any credibility there at home. And they the Portuguese rebuffed an attack by the rebels, by the page C units, and are now reporting that they are on the brink of taking Chicha. So much so that let me just do it. Now, obviously, I can't attack these units. I really don't think, you know, at 1 to 2 it's worth it. Again, I'm going to hold here. Doing good ground here. I'm okay there, I think. Do I want to attack into there at 1 to 1? I don't think so. Yep. Well, this marine unit is going to sort of slowly move this way, I think. It's still got some air power. I was moving these. And I have closed some applications down on some browser windows because I have about 1 million browser windows open, and I think the computer is going a bit faster now. I'm only using 5.2 of 8 gigabytes. I need a new computer, but that's something else. I think I will. So they're back down to depression 1. They're never going to get past that, but if I can get another DR, well, it's keeping the pressure up. If I can get another 3 on the next turn, that would be good. So I think it's in the Portuguese favour, but I mean, they are on the offensive, so the offensive is going to start off strong. I can't really remember what I read in the Wikipedia, so I'm not going to guess too much, but I mean, essentially it was an old colony, and that they never gained the inner areas of it. And I think basically one of the things that the problem they had, I think I'm completely guessing here, was that they couldn't. A lot of the locals would just go over to the page C side. You know, they couldn't really win hearts and minds. So they were just getting lots and lots of reinforcements. But I might be imagining that. I'm sure I read that. So I think that's that. And again, whilst it's loading, still at a very slow rate, the battles are raging around here, or the skirmishes I should say. So I do like to emphasise there's probably quite a lot happening here. They're not just sitting there, we haven't done anything. I think you can assume that there are sort of small skirmishes, and to some extent that maybe there should be some sort of reflection of that. I mean, they've got the choice, so that these people are held up in the city and to the northeast of it. There could be 2 or 3 miles between the two of them, so maybe a bit of sniper firing. But even that sort of attrition with a company, which I sort of figure out have about 200 units, 200 men, but they could have anything up to 400. Even so, that still offers some scope for attrition. Any sort of battalion, regimental level units, maybe not so, but I'm considering it to be insignificant in the grand scheme of things with regards to the size of units. But yeah, so that's that. So it's the page C go. These units are going to stay and recover. I think the whole idea of leaving units to recover is important, because in a lot of games, although a lot are quite advanced and they have fairly advanced depression, broken, fatigue sort of type factors, I think it's in a lot of games. I do see it in a few. I don't want to say I don't see it in many, because I do see people pulling units back, and I think the whole idea of pulling units back and keeping a reserve and having fresh units to fill in the reserve is actually quite important. I don't think it's played a lot here in the games that I play, but I think it should be to some extent. And I think the way you would play that would be to voluntarily move units back to recover, or at least leaving them to recover. So these units are sort of fallen back slightly within the scope of their thingy, within the scope of their hex. I think in a lot of games everything just ends up on the front line, and the concept of a reserve is actually fundamental in a lot of I don't remember the word for military strategy. What was it? I can always remember when I don't need it. Paradigm. Anyway, in the Second World War, there would be 2 units. We don't have a Second World War. Yeah. No, I just don't have that. I can never remember simple things like that. Anyway, in the Second World War, they might have this set up. So this would be a division made up of 3 brigades, or a brigade made up of 3 regiments, and there would be 2 in advance and 1 in reserve. So it would be better to look at, say, a triangle like that. This is the front line and this is in reserve. And they had reserves, and I think if I could force that into the gameplay, I might would do. But anyway, just talking now. I don't really want to just talk. So we're still battling to take over these places here. So it was working slowly. Let's just see if we can get some moves going. So I think what's happening really in this is obviously it's quite slow, but there's two earlier areas here. Obviously we've talked about progress being made by the Portuguese taking over these 2 towns, whatever you call it, the word for recovering them. Liberating these 2 towns of Bissau and Mansoa. So they're doing something there. But there's 2 fronts. There's this one, And if the Portuguese can do what they said they're going to do in São Domingos, then it will go in their right direction. But the rebels are threatening Chicha. Now their units have recovered one, and so in a turn or so they will all be fresh again. Hence that importance of recovering. I don't think I can. It'll still be 1 to 2. Can't attack them to stop them recovering. So, but let's get the Air Force in here. Well, just another exchange, so it'll probably still be on a 2 depression because we recovered one. And I'm just going to do this. I mean, it's probably going to be a 1 to 1. I'm just going to do it anyway because I'm building up for that for so long now. A 2 to 1 with an exchange. Now that means they're all on fatigue 1, but he's now been pushed up to fatigue 3. Now I can do another attack next turn, and hopefully, if not suffer. I still got scope for one more attack before I really want to start considering recovering. Move the Marines. I don't really want to do too much more over here. I think I'm happy with just about everything else. Like I say, it's all waiting for this to sort of culminate. I am a bit concerned about here because I can see that I'm going to be outnumbered, but I don't really want to pull. To be quite honest, it's 3 against 3 and 3 against 1. So 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to pull this unit back. To possibly help defend down there. I mean, that makes sense. I just don't like to leave that a little weaker. Then maybe that will give the page C units opportunity. Can't believe the time flies by so quickly. Now, he doesn't really have anywhere to retreat, but he could retreat into whatever country this is. I don't even know what country it is. I have had some thoughts. Oh, there's a bit of room missing there. I have had some thoughts of putting in country notations, so it'd be just like the town feature locations like this, but it'll be bigger. So it'd be nice big letters saying, you know, Guinea, etc. So you know which country you're looking at. Because I think that's quite important. There's no more reinforcements, but I think they don't have any other choice. No, I didn't want to do that. Let's just go for it. It's a video. Bit of action. Two to 1, good odds. Crappy die roll. Someone should, really see about their crappy die rolls. I mean, they're rubbish. Let's try this one. Okay, so After a rather disappointing assault on São Domingos, the Portuguese are pretending that they're still building up for that attack. They're at 1 depression. The page C are at 3, so hopefully the air assaults will be able to prep them up a bit. Next turn, there was some rather lackluster assaults by page C against the Portuguese positions here, and also here. Portuguese. I think the Marines should really move a bit faster on water. 1 move is pretty slow. No result. I've also added a ford. One. Okay, so the Portuguese have now successfully assaulted São Domingos. As I've added a ford. There's a ford across there now in the core files. So 1 movement, should be able to move into there. Now that leaves them at depression 4. I think I will move everything in. Depression 2. Depression 1. Depression 2. I don't think they want to start attacking there. I feel tempted, but I'm going to leave it. Page C turn. Now they're going to try and recover. And these units are going to recover as well. This guy, it's page C company, depression 4, either stays and recovers down 1, or tries to flee, and I think I will. He'll flee into this country, which I think he can do, and I don't think the Portuguese can follow. So that saves him. And that's it. I was just thinking when the Portuguese are going to get some reinforcements. Well, that unit's always going to have at least 2 depressions, which is not massive, but it's better than nothing. Because of that, I'm going to move the bulk of my forces back in this direction. I shouldn't have advanced them. I should have anticipated that they would move into across the border. I was thinking, where are my Portuguese reinforcements? Well, here they are. So we've now got some reinforcements. So I'm now in a position to possibly make an assault. There's also some page C reinforcements over here. So the game is afoot. These units have recovered. So it's all going in the Portuguese favour at the moment. Do I want to do a one-to-one attack there? No, I'll wait. But I've got some air power. Okay. Use it against this unit. Nothing. Okay. Page C unit's going to move their reinforcements in. So it's getting quite a sizable element of troops there. They're still holding out here. Still a rather strange situation southeast of Mansena. They're possibly a little concerned here. And this unit is just going to stand. Okay. Well, there's a fatigue there, which will recover, no doubt. I suppose a fatigue like that in exchange is it helps if they might be considering an attack next turn. Okay, so the page C units are thinking, well, it's looking fairly tight around Mansaba. Now that's not actually even a city hex, so if he stays there, he'll be worth 2, but there will be quite a few troops. So I think he's going to stack up there. But that does leave this path open here, which could be what he's going to break their defence. Desperate for some action, I think the page C troops are going to try and assault Chicha here. Two to one, and just an exchange. Okay, well, I could have hoped for something better than that. Now the Portuguese, I think, are going to take a running assault here. Okay. Let's try here. The exchange. Really do with some more retreat options, or at least the devastating lower numbers. Okay, well, I think it's quite interesting. The page C units can see the problem. It's quite clear they're going to lose Farm City and these northern objectives. The breakthrough has happened. Is there anything that can be done? Now this unit is always going to be tied up there. You know, if this unit here does anything. And he is going to do something now. He's going to move into Zinkchur. That means there's a road through there. He still can't be attacked. I think the Portuguese definitely have the upper hand, but as soon as it's late, I'm going to do one more assault, and then I've got to go to bed. I'm going to sleep. I'm so tired. Come on. Dialogue of 4, 1 to 1. Okay. So they're not going to want to do any more attacks. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I've got one more scope for another Portuguese move. So the Portuguese are going to move into Farm City and Kumtima Town. Let's try another air attack there. Okay, so this should put him at least 1. Let's just see what we can do here. Oh, look at that, a die roll of 1. That's what wars are defined by, these unusual results. Do I want to advance there? Well, I think the answer is yes, because it's an objective. Okay, well I can't because I'm running movement. That's pretty much it. So I'm not going to play anymore. I think it's an interesting scenario. It's definitely holding its own. Thinking under the new play, the Portuguese have the upper hand. I'll speak to you later.
Okay, well, it's the next morning, so I can't remember anything that I was doing, but what I was thinking is it seems quite balanced actually, quite an interesting game, quite doable for Portugal, and the changes I've made probably sway the balance maybe a bit too much. I can't quite remember what's happened. We've won the battle over here, and we've swept around to take these objectives. I think that's why. Maybe I'm just being a bit keen, but I think that sort of swayed the balance. I think we've got this was routed here, this unit, and there's no movements left for that. I mean, I could assault in there, but that'd be about as good as it gets, and they're just going to hold their ground. So I think it's basically a case of sort of holding ground and then making minor assaults where you can. So the Portuguese essentially pretty much look as though they can make some good ground over time. It's just a methodical approach of keeping places like this where the HC units can't make an advance, can't make any ground, because these sort of situations are sort of fairly stalemate on both sides, and then managing a heavier force. You know, I mean, once this is looking fairly certain here. There's a little thorn in the way that the HC units can just cross the border into essential safety, which is the big problem with Guinea. And down here we sort of have a stalemate, but I managed to sort of, you know, make some ground, taking this unit out of Empada. I'm not going to do. I don't really want to attack that just yet. Maybe if I can get some air power in there to do something good, and maybe move this one round, get a flank bonus. Okay, that happened quickly. Yeah, so appears to be reloading a lot quicker. So now they've sort of, I don't think they're really too bothered about losing, because I don't think they ever saw themselves winning strategically. But they played a sort of insurgent role, and I think they can continue to do that. Although there are no opportunities at the moment for that. We'll leave them there. Now, these units are Depression 2, so I'm going to recover these again. So playing a recovery game there. I think what I'm going to do here is move into Kangia, because I'm as good there as I am there. I've only got one against this unit now, though, but I've got three against that. I had three against him before, but now I'm contesting. See, this is a psychological difference. I'm now contesting a Portuguese, I wouldn't say stronghold, but an original Portuguese objective. So that's the sort of cost of moving south here, and that's the sort of nature of the game that I tried to emphasise at the beginning. There's not enough units to sort of control everything, and so it's sort of like not so much cat and mouse, but lots of, you know, instead of front lines, people just rushing for objectives, and then, you know, here contesting it, because now the Portuguese, unless they sort of decide to go for other objectives, which they could do, they're going to have to divert their attention back to recover something that they've just lost. And I think that would possibly be a greater objective if you were in a situation like this. You would be more inclined politically, you know, for the public eye, to make sure that what you had was safe, as opposed to just sort of letting it go, you know, and getting something else, because that's the mathematical makes sense statistically or mathematically. It makes sense to just sort of exchange things, but politically, I don't think you could do that. You can just sort of give up this place, which was nice and safe, and everyone was happy, letting rebels in, and saying, well, yeah, but we've got this other place. So Portuguese, I think, have a problem there. See how long it takes to load. Yeah, I mean, look at that, it's almost instant. It's because my computer's had a good sleep, a bit like me, really. Mostly not being so good, but something else. Okay, but now we have some more page C reinforcements, which could pose a problem down here. Probably not, but I think what we need to do possibly is use the air power here. Okay, no result. Move a unit to there. And we'll shuffle around here. It's underneath that. So they're probably worth about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 to 1. Still couldn't get a 2 to 1 on that. Let's see if I can get some air power in there to do something soon. Now I have this problem here. Which I'm going to respond to. I think I'm only going to get a 1 to 1, but I'm going to go for it anyway. The reason I think 1 to 1 because I think one of these units is depressed. Depression 0, 0, 0. No, so there should be a 2 to 1. 3 to 1, defend a retreat. That's good. So the Portuguese have sort of demonstrated that they can defend their grounds. Now we've got no movement to move back into Chicha, so this unit's probably going to regroup with these rebels. So it's an interesting flux there, I think. And at least we'll be able to get Kangia back. Here we're preparing for an assault. I'm not sure whether to just sit these because this would take a long time to recover. I mean that's going to take a long time, like 30 turns. Let's have a stack in there or something. I'm going to advance into Empada, but I'm going to leave this here to protect the road from to Balama. Move into there. I think that's that. Okay, so the rebels. Well, they were forced out of Kangia. Now, he's not going to do anything. These units are all they're going to rest as well, recover. These people are going to hold their ground. They're moving into Fafata. Seems like a good move. There's nothing under there, but that allows me a front line almost. Forcing the Portuguese to sort of constantly shuffle around and respond. got these units here, it's as good for me to go from there to there as it is around there, I think. Now here, I think we're going to. There's one other thing about this game. I think what I'm trying to stress is maybe some realism. Although I know it's all abstract at the same time, but I think what I'm going to do here, Mansaba, yeah, it's actually a major objective for the HC units, though Farm City, Farim and Bafata, I keep calling it Farim City, that's just my terminology, it's Farim, are more important. I think we're going to fall back, because otherwise we're going to be destroyed. And that what I was saying, God, realism, I think that is something that you can choose to do. I think in other games you probably choose to do it, but I think as a game I sort of just hold out until you die. But I'm going to retreat here, because otherwise I get surrounded, and although they might not win, because it would come down to a die roll, if they did, be destroyed. So that risk is something I don't think they're prepared to take. I think that's that. Okay, well, we're still going to go for them. They're a lot less now, so let's see if we can get better odds now. Okay, well that was a 1-to-1. We had that before, but this time we got a DR, which means that their fatigue's now at 3, which is sort of what I was after. Now, we can still get a good surround here. Because they're worth 70%. They've still got an option for retreat. 3-to-1 DR, so the HC units are now on the clearly on the retreat. So the Portuguese have really got the upper hand now, I think. I think down here they're going to continue to hold their ground. I don't really want to start pushing on that. This is the central thrust. Here we're sort of holding on again, but I think we can move into there to recover that. So end that turn. That should now restore order in Kanjia. People are saying, why did you forsake us? So lots of contested blue areas. Okay, well that will help there. These units are now all recovered. Well, I'm not going to think of the odds, but this has got to be a reasonable effort. 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, 4-to-1 DR. That's interesting. Okay, I think it sort of cut off at some point just at the end, and I can't quite remember how far it got, but I'm pretty sure I just won a victory here, forcing this unit to retreat, which is good for the rebels. No movement, no movement. It's got one, but it won't be able to move into there, so that leaves Gabu exposed, and a lot of rebel units versus not so many Portuguese, although the situation is not quite the same here. Now they've got movement. The problem is they can pretty much carry on that outflanking manoeuvre repeatedly. So the only thing I could possibly do, and this will sort of help, I think, although they can still get one, they can still get to there, still carry out some flank assaults. So I could move maybe there, which would free me from the zone of control, and then there, which would leave me free from assault, but means I wouldn't recover this turn, but I could still maybe try and recover later. Or I can head for the safety of this city, but the odds calculations are the same, so I'm going to retreat. Well, Bonko is an objective, so let's try and retreat into Bonko. Well, that's not best. I'd like to have gone there. I don't think they want to start giving up places. That's the whole idea, even if it's strategically not as great. Got to remember at all stages, maybe not so much in this game, but there are other courses for the end of the war. For example, negotiations, and so you know they. At any stage, they could be thinking, well, this could be the end of it, so we want to really be in control of what we can. Now, they've left Mansena, but I think they had to, really, because otherwise they would just be surrounded again and possibly lose their units. They can't be surrounded, they can still be attacked, but I think it's safer there. They could have moved there, and that would have been maybe a safer move, but I've done that now, so these units have all moved. I'm not going to commit myself to anything down here, so that's that. Okay, so they're now entrenched. Okay. Well, these troops are, I think it'd be worth maybe really trying to polish these units off. I mean, there is air support, so yep, 2-1, defend and retreat. That's probably what we needed. Putting them up to 8 depressions. But the assault is not that simple. Get 1 unit in there. 2, 3. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. I can move 1 into there. Can't get to there. These are all borders. So this is about as good as it's going to get. So I'll do that battle first, give me an idea of the gameplay, because if this goes really well, I can take risks elsewhere. Let me think of the odds. So it's 2 doubled to 4 in jungle. I think it's doubled. Jungle is doubled. Let me just have a look. I should really organise this table better, but no, that's the movement. I don't know what the defence factor is. That's stupid. Okay, well, let's suppose it's doubled, so 4 times 0.8, which is, so they're about 0.8. Yeah, they're 0.8, which, and this is 1, 2, 3. So they're about 3-1. Let's see. 4-1. Defend or retreat.
it's not ideal, but that's, you know, that's left them so knackered they're never going to be an effective fighting force again. Really can't get into there just yet, but I will follow that up. That's interesting. That is interesting. 1, 2, because now I think what I'm going to do, oh look, some reinforcements. I think what I'm going to do is send this unit. I'm going to leave him there for the time being, or not. Let me think. Yeah, I'm going to exploit down here. I've got 2 units, but they're now so knackered. 6-to-1 DR. So that's pretty much no effect really, although what that does mean is they're never going to get below 10. 10 is the max, they're at 12, and the numbers can go up and up, but because of the way it works, 10 is the maximum effective fatigue, which leaves them at 1%. Now, I haven't got morale rules in yet, so they should effectively check for morale at this point, and 50% chance that they would just go, and if you keep doing that, they're going to go. But that's not in play at the moment, so we'll have to live with that. But yeah, they're still there though, so they can still do things, but they're worth nothing really in defence or attack. So the Portuguese have certainly got the upper hand. Here, I think we're going to wait with one of these. So these are depressed, so I'll leave those, but this unit I'm going to move into Gabu. I think this unit is the most at risk, so although I don't want to leave that hex open. If I move this unit into there, this unit could then move into there. These units could all shuffle around. Well, that would be doubled up. They could still retreat, but it just gives them an extra edge, which I think they might go for. Whereas this way I keep that unit isolated over there. So I think that's that. I'm not going to think any further because time just flies. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do with this unit, because it's obviously a standoff over there, but I can come across the border down here and actually start attacking things. I didn't move the reinforcements though. Oh well. Now these units are knackered, so getting them into there might be useful. I am going to try what I suggested. So we have 2, 1, 2.5, maybe 3-to-1, 4-to-1. So that's nice because they would. Okay, so everyone's moved, so I can't exploit into there. But politically, that's every time they gain a win,
It's interesting actually, because there's another game that I quite like, Hex Empire. It's just a silly little game, but your morale goes up every time you win a battle. So you don't have to necessarily be winning the war. So every time you win a battle, like we did there, the whole morale for the whole game, for the whole side goes up. It's that's quite an interesting way of doing things. So you could be losing like they are now, but just gaining these little things. As we say here, if we can take Bissau, that would be more morale, and that's sort of how I envisage the game working, just sort of trundling around trying to take these places. There's an interesting feature there, because you form a line across here and you just can't get to this part of the board. If there was a ford or a bridge here, that might be something else, but there isn't. I don't think there's much that they can do here other than hold in, but I would like to somehow threaten this stack here. It's going to get even worse now. Nothing that can be done here. This stack is pretty much a stack of dead units, so that's their turn. Some more page C reinforcements. I'm going to bump up the page C forces in the initial setup again, because I know that the Portuguese are doing really well, and this is without their armour. So I think it's going to have to bump up a bit. I think it should be okay, but it'll certainly be a very different game to this. I was sort of thinking, well, maybe I should revert it back to this, because this is quite entertaining actually, I think, as it stands. I think very possibly maybe try and get rid of this. Just a little note on the airplane, I have no idea. Wait, it's the 2-to-1 DR, so that should give them 3 depressions. Sometimes it ends up at 2, I don't know why. But basically, the aeroplane is from the Cuba game. It's like a B something or other. I just used it. I couldn't be bothered to source the correct aeroplane, so it doesn't make a lot of difference. It's sort of that period, maybe a bit late, but so that's that. Depression 3, depression 0, so I can get this unit maybe into there. So I don't want to leave that empty. I can certainly make an assault into here now. I'm not really thinking the odds, but I pretty much imagine that. So I could leave one empty so that I've got some movement afterwards, but I'm just going to plonk everything in. 3-to-1 defender retreat. So that worked out. So then now depression's 5, so the rebels are truly on the run. He's got 1 movement, so he's going to move back into Kangia. Seems like a bit of a cheat. There you go. No movement. So they're all in good order. I'm not going to attack that stack this turn, because I can afford to wait, get some air power in there, and maybe shuffle other units around. Let's make an effort to move these units to protect Bissau, of all places, from a suspected rebel assault across the border. That's interesting. Now down here, we'll start off with taking some of these rebel towns. Okay, we'll gain Video seems to just stop. Anyway, I think the Portuguese definitely have the upper hand, defending the northern borders here. I don't think there's anything more that can be done. I'm going to contest this town. I could sort of press further around here, but I just want to sort of start getting some of these blue, because I think that will politically have a little more significance. It's not as though they're really going to be doing anything. Try holding here. There's no movement anyway. He's got one movement, but he can't get into there. He's got three, but I don't want to leave this objective open, Gabu. So that's that. Okay, it's the rebels' turn. Well, they've got some more reinforcements, but I don't think that's really going to count for much. No depressions there. No depressions all around. No depressions. No depressions. So these are fresh units. So I could push into there, but then I'd be sort of stuck. But I'm going to be sort of stuck anyway. Possibly push first into there. Well, this unit is stuck, but I think I'm going to push him around this way. Let's try this. Okay, so the rebels seem to be doing okay. Forcing another retreat there. Where was that retreat? Into there. Now these broken units I think are going to move south to present a presence down here to contend this, because if he moves out of there I can at least zip in there and take it back. I can't hold it really, but here again we can start. This is, if you remember right at the beginning, I was sort of mentioning about how it's quite difficult to actually hold all these objectives, because I'm going to take this back. Now he can probably move in there, but then he can probably move 1, 2, 3. So he'll be able to take one of these next turn just by sitting across the border. It's demonstrating the difficulty of the proximity of the border for Portuguese. I'm not sure whether I can really have started doing something. I mean, it's evens, but I think that's it. Portuguese air power. Well, I think I'm going to try and take this place out. Nothing. Well, I don't really want to spend too much time thinking about this really. I think if I move everything like this, that gets the two objectives of pushing my troops into the central body and allowing them to contribute into this attack. It's about as good as it's going to get. Yeah, power didn't do anything, which would have been nice, but 3-1, defender retreat. That's nice. So we should have a movement left for this unit and get into BAFTA. I think I've got to at least try and occupy Kangia. Leaves this a bit exposed. He can't really get too far that way if he chooses. I doubt he'll commit his units that way. Here we've taken this objective. I could divert my attentions to these weak units here, which I think I will. 6-1, defender eliminated. That's good. Okay. I haven't really considered all of this stuff. I think most of this is all moved, so I'll end the game at the end of the turn there. Page C turn. Well, HC units have been rolling consistently well. I think they're on a roll. Let's say that. Knowing that. Oh, look at that. 2-1, defender retreat with die roll of 1. Which means they can take Gabu. I'd like to attack Impada, but I just don't think the odds are really up to it. It's not depressed. Depressed 1, depressed 2, so there's no point really trying to attack into there either. This is the only solid force that can really do anything. So the Portuguese more reinforcements. Let's push some air power into this unit here. Defender retreat, so that should knock his fatigues up. Now fatigue 3. Defender eliminated. That's what we need. Can't advance with anything. Where does the road go? No, I can move into Kangia because this unit's knackered. So I think that's good. Trying my luck here. What could go wrong? Nothing. Defender retreat. Well, depression 11, depression 3 against a fresh unit. I could attack into there, but I don't think I will. That would be pushing my luck too far, I think. And that should pin him. I don't want to attack there just yet. I think I'll leave that. Reinforcements. Well, this is about as good as it's ever going to get. I get the feeling that I'm going to lose this hideously. I don't even know why I'm doing it. In fact, I'm not going to do it. That's stupid. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Bit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A bit 1, probably 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 2. That was a stupid move. They put themselves into position, but no, on retrospect, I'm not going to do that attack. Well, I'm going to use the air power in here, see if I can butter this up a little. Oh, 10% down. I'm doing an assault, so I'm feeling lucky. An exchange. Well, if we keep that up, at least push the depressions up. It's permanently depressed by 1 anyway, so that's good. I'm going to focus on basically pushing everything at 1 stack at a time. I could maybe optimize that a bit more, but well, that was what I was after. So 10.7 to 1.5, but 7 to 1 odds, not a very good die roll, but defender eliminated, so that's the nature of the game. I really don't think the page C units, page C force can really withstand much more. Probably make this the last round, last video. So they pushed into there, which means that I can certainly strike one of these other locations. Now, so there's a depressed unit in there. This unit's depressed. I think I'm just going to push into here. I don't have any of the advantages, but this is their second assault. That was just an exchange that pushes things. It was an expensive one, but I'm quite happy to do that at this stage. Okay, aim that turn. Rebel units. See, that was a mistake. They lost that unit because I tried to surround them. I should have sort of consolidated the units. So that was a bit of a mistake. I'm going to push this unit into there. But there's not much else to do. Okay, that's going to be, what is it, 2 or 3? There's 3 depressions on that unit now. So, move him there, shuffle around. It's a nice little front. I'm going to just, for the sake of thinking, put everyone in there. Because most of these units are stood still, they should get another assault next if they win. Defender eliminated, yeah, so it's a sort of steamroller now because there's not much that they can do. Let's just see whether I can get another good result here. They are all depressed though. That's sort of minor really. And the defender retreats there. So the situation is looking very dire. So much so I'm quite happy to take a crap shot here. 1-to-1. Press the button. Yep, and then exchange. Another crap shot, but it's almost as you might expect. Depression 2, depression 10, it's going nowhere. A little too much in there to be contending with, so that's the end of that turn. Now the page C force, I think, needs to maybe consider a retreat, because otherwise they're just going to lose everything. I mean, this stack is going to be lost soon. This town is going to be lost soon. But I think I'm going to hold. Or not. Okay, so air power. Push the fatigue up a little on that other unit. To 3. Defender retreats. Let's see what we can do here. An exchange. It all adds up. Ouch. 1 to 1. That's what you get for being complacent. Depression's 3. Okay. Okay. Hoisted by that failed assault on Gabu. HC units are not necessarily going to retreat now. Although I do think I might retreat these units across the border. That makes them safe. 3 units there. Depression 0, 0, and 3. He's depressed 3. Defender eliminated. AC units get something back. And enter Kasia. What a turnaround. Failed assault, counter attack, but I don't think it's going to last. So much so that I think I'm going to take the opportunity to that's the one that's depressed. See, this is the situation. This is pretty much a stalemate. I'm really focusing my efforts elsewhere. It's just a case that the PC units need more reinforcements. They've obviously been losing, but this is a Portuguese offensive, so it's sort of working. But there's so much empty space here. If the PC could just get some reinforcements, across the border, they could just walk through all of these places again. See if we can protect the border. I'm not sure that I really want to be attacking, but another exchange. I missed the air power. No result. Okay, well they're not going to do anything. And I don't think there's really anything here that warrants an assault. So they're going to try and hold. This is going to be the last turn. I don't want to do any more. This is a stalemate. Obviously the Portuguese have the advantage here. I think the Portuguese are in the long run going to win this. I don't think there's much can be done. I think the Portuguese are going to recover. And I'm just not going to move anything. I think the page C units also want to recover. Well, Impara and Fulacunda are now both Portuguese towns. So the Portuguese are definitely starting to realise their objectives. Portuguese again are going to recover, but let's put in some air power here. If we can get a good DR result, it might be worth doing an assault, but not like that. So, in the turn. HC units are going to hold. Portuguese I think it's about as good as they're going to get. They seem to have lost their edge. Plenty of troops. I think I'm rushing it a bit. HC units are still going to hold their ground. Attempt to recover. Portuguese again with the air attack. How much air power they've got left in exchange? I'm going to recover. Yep, I'm going to recover. So are these guys. So they've taken this place now. So this is a sort of stalemate that I quite like. It sort of represents the difficulty. Okay, hopefully this will be the last round. I know these videos all add up to being mega sessions, which is odd. Fortunately, you've got a win here. I've been making some careless assaults here and got the fatigues up, and ironically, the depressions on the page C units are not that high. You know, these are almost fresh, and these are
because they're working in a stack, they're all depressed at level 2. So I'm not going to use these this turn, but I'll see whether I can. Well, if I can get a good result on this location, DR. Now that was a good result because that sort of pushes the depressions of this up to 4. So it's 4 and 4. So they're only worth half. So I think I will go for an assault here. It's definitely, well, I don't want to do it at the depression levels that I am, but I think it's like a forced march. I'm forcing myself now to actually engage in this because they're 60% their value. 2 to 1, and in exchange, well, I'm not going to do any more on that. This is interesting. It is sort of a stalemate. Could I push this unit into the battle next time? Might have to. Interesting. They can't have too many more airstrikes. I think they've only got, maybe they have 30 and it's turn 25, so they might only have 5 more strikes left. An exchange. This is truly a forced march. It's something like this. If it goes wrong, could truly be a, what's the other game where it just completely turned around? Defender retreats. Now that's pretty much the Portuguese victory, I think. No, I think I'll pass on continuing that assault. Okay. It's loading, in theory. Okay, so it was unfortunate for them. See, I'm thinking moving back into there, but I could move down here, although they'll just get us around. If I leave him there, at least he's dug in. possibly recover. Entrenched now. Well, let's send the air power against this little stack. A DR would be perfect. Yep. 3-to-1 odds. DR pushing him up to depression 6. Do we have anything here that's depression 5, depression 0, 3, 5, 3, 3. So this guy's on 0, so he'll move into there. He's at depression 1, so I will push him forward and I'll commit this attack. An exchange. I think they're going to hold. I think they'll try this attack again. DR would be perfect. Defender eliminated. That's sort of more perfect than perfect, really, because that was a unit eliminated by air power alone, which means that I can push into here. This is a messy conflict, messy set of battles. Everywhere else it's a stalemate, and it's going to say all eyes are on the outcome of this, and the Portuguese mess up. Depression 4, 4, 6, 4, 6. Depressions 6. Portuguese force is really not doing very well. I don't want to move this unit. It's in good order though, because that will just free these units up to just come in and do things. I mean, I've got other resources here, but if I move them, that will just allow these other units to start doing things. I mean, we've got a considerable number of troops tied up in these two stacks, and I just don't really want to do anything with them just yet. But they'll soon be out of air power. I don't think they've got more than 30. Depression 5, 0, 5. Not really enough to start an attack. Well, I'm going to play the last few minutes of this. I mean, I've got 5 more minutes, so it's still quite a bit. But I'm going to say it's a stalemate, which I think is interesting, and for a number of reasons. I mean, historically, this war went on for a long time more. We've still got the issue of lots of towns being contested, an ebb and flow of battle. But I think we've also got possibly where this game doesn't extend. I don't really want to say it directly, but the issues of supply. But I think it's more involved with just that. It's the sort of replenishment and long-term strategy. This is more a sort of short-term strategic game. What we're looking at here is, a lot of these units would be probably exhausted now, and I think what might happen now is we'd have a status quo where both sides would sort of be regrouping, recovering, consolidating what they've got. But even as it stands, the rebels or the page C units still hold quite a few locations. The Portuguese have gained a few locations, but nothing majorly significant. I mean, they've gained these two little towns here, but they've lost this town here. So they have lost a location. They've contested a lot of places, but are unable to keep them. And I think at this stage we could assume that influences greater than what we can see on the map would start to take effect. Perhaps a sway in, public opinion, more rebels joining in. Perhaps the Portuguese looking to hold back on losses. I mean, they've taken heavy losses in this sort of fighting around Cangia. I mean, this is their sort of core area, and to be quite honest, Gabu and Cangia are contested, but they were originally part of the original setup, and so the Portuguese are not looking. They're probably looking as though they've failed in this attack, in this campaign. I don't really want to sort of continue moving things on too much, because I think that, I mean, if you look at this stack here, when a unit is 60% of its maximum capacity, 60%, this is like 40%, 60%. This is 40%. They're basically half strength. That's significant. I don't think the military high command would sort of really want to commit to any further losses. The same thing with this stack. I mean, they're all 3, 4, 2, and this stack is at 6, so there's nothing fresh. This is the only fresh unit. We've got some fresh units over here, but as I said, keep saying it, if we move these out, so I think I might actually just leave it at that, not even bother doing any more moves, although, because what I don't want to do is just commit this to another fruitless assault into here, although to be quite honest I could do. Yeah, it's the page C turn, so I didn't want to do that. So I'm actually going to leave it at that. I shouldn't have done that. I was trying to attack into there as the final move, but he's dug in. They conquered Chicha. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think this is a pretty interesting game. The only thing I would say is, because of the adjustments I made, you won't be able to play the same game that I've just demonstrated there, because the Portuguese have armour, but to be quite honest, I wish I'd sort of left it at that, because it is definitely something that you could sort of play 5 or 6 times and get, well, not 5 or 6 different results, but you could get, I think you could get the win, draw, lose options. That's not a walkover for the Portuguese. But I do think the Portuguese would have had some armour, would have had some mechanised units, and and I think the thing that will sort of, hopefully it'll be balanced, but I think the thing that I'm trying to achieve with the page C forces is the continual reinforcement. They just, even if they can eliminate units, they'll continually be reinforced. That's what we've not got any reinforcements. There's nothing fresh that's going to affect this, and I think that's the dynamic that's sort of missing in this stage. So I'm going to leave it at that. This is officially going to be the end of this, and I'll stitch all these videos together. And there's another epic movie. It's got to be about 2 hours now. Who's going to watch 2 hours of Hex Warfare? I don't know. But remember, if you want to play this, you can sign up on warblog.co.uk and see how you fare. Cheerio!